Let's get one thing straight. This isn't your typical book review. Think of this as more of an executive briefing, an inside look at a powerful success framework that was commissioned by none other than the industrialist Andrew Carnegie himself. We're not just talking about a book. We're about to decode the operating system behind some of history's greatest achievements.
And to be clear, this isn't some feel-good theory. The principles we're about to cover are the result of analyzing over 500 of America's most successful people. We're talking about titans like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison. This is all based on what actually works.
Now, this wasn't some weekend project. This was a massive undertaking that spanned 25 years. Just think about that, a quarter-century of research. Carnegie's mission was simple but huge. He wanted to reverse engineer success and create a formula, a replicable blueprint that anyone could use if they had the ambition.
So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at why Carnegie started this whole thing, his secret commission. Then we'll get into the core principle that everything else is built on. After that, the really practical part, the 6-step method. And finally, we'll look at 2 real-world case studies, one of incredible success and one of just devastating failure.
Okay, let's dive in with the mandate itself. Andrew Carnegie was convinced of one thing. Success wasn't some magic gift you were born with. He believed the principles of achievement were skills, things that could be taught, and he wanted to make that formula available to everybody, not just the wealthy elite. In this quote right here, it really changes how you look at this whole thing, doesn't it? This isn't just self-help, it's a strategic asset. Carnegie saw this knowledge as a tool, a way to basically democratize success and unlock potential on a massive scale. All right, so that brings us to the core principle. At the absolute heart of this entire philosophy is one single foundational idea. This is the true starting point of any great fortune, any great company, any great achievement. And that principle is this: every single tangible thing in our world starts as an intangible thought. I mean everything. A skyscraper, a global company, a personal fortune, every one of them began as just a simple thought impulse in someone's mind. That's the raw material for everything.
Now, here's the crucial part. This is not about wishful thinking. It's about treating thought as a literal force of energy. But it only works when you mix it with 3 key ingredients: a crystal clear purpose, a stubborn refusal to quit, and a burning desire that consumes you.
Okay, so much for philosophy. How do you actually do it? How do you put this into practice? Well, that's where we get to the 6-step method, a concrete, practical process for turning that thought into actual money in the bank. This method is basically a machine. It's designed to take that abstract desire you have and systematically turn it into a tangible financial reality. The whole point is to remove all the vagueness and force you to get absolutely clear on what you want.
So let's walk through the protocol. Step 1, get specific. A lot of money is a wish. An exact number, that's a target. 2, what are you giving in return? There's no such thing as something for nothing. 3, set a hard deadline. 4, create a plan, and this is key. Start immediately. Don't wait. And then steps 5 and 6, this is where the magic happens. You write it all down and read it out loud twice a day. You're literally programming your subconscious mind until that goal becomes an obsession.
But does all this mental technology stuff actually work in the real world? Well, let's look at the ultimate proof of concept, the story of Edwin C. Barnes, the man who literally thought his way into becoming Thomas Edison's business partner.
So picture this. Barnes shows up at Edison's laboratory. He has 0 money, 0 connections. In fact, Edison himself said the guy looked like an ordinary tramp. But here's what he did. He didn't ask for a job. He made a declaration. He said he was there to go into business with Edison. The only thing he had was that unshakable, definite desire.
And this, right here, this slide explains the entire game. Look at that distinction. In his mind, Barnes never saw himself as an employee. From day one, he was Edison's partner. And he held on to that thought, that mental position, even while he was doing menial jobs around the lab for years, just waiting for the opportunity he knew was coming. Barnes was the perfect case study. He had one single-minded purpose. He had burned all his bridges so there was no going back. He showed incredible initiative, spotting an opportunity in the Ediphone that even Edison's own salesman had missed. And then he just persisted until that opportunity was his.
Okay, so we've seen what success looks like. But to really get this, you have to look at the other side of the coin. Now we turn to a powerful cautionary tale, a story about the staggering cost of quitting when you're just on the edge of a breakthrough.
And this brings us to the big question, the one that the story of R.U. Darby answers in the most gut-wrenching way possible. What is the single most common reason people fail?
The answer is so simple it's almost frustrating. It's the habit of quitting. It's giving up when you're hit with what feels like a major defeat, but is really just a temporary setback. It's failing to persist right at that critical moment.
So here's the story. Darby's uncle catches gold fever, starts digging, and actually finds a vein of ore. But then, it just disappears. The vein runs out. So what do? They quit. They give up, sell all their machinery for next to nothing to a junk man. Well, that junk man was smart. He hired an expert who told him the vein was probably still there, just a little further down. And sure enough, the gold was found just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped digging. 3 feet away from a fortune.
So, to wrap up this briefing, the key takeaway is this. The principles from Think and Grow Rich are not magic. This is a mental technology. It is a replicable system for focusing the power of your thoughts with so much intensity that it literally changes your physical reality.
The research is done. The framework has been proven time and again by some of the greatest minds in history. The principles are now laid out right in front of you. So the only question left, the only variable, is you. What are you going to do with them?